Hello, my name is Pat Withrow, and I'm running for sheriff of San Joaquin County. You know, a lot of people lately have been coming to me and saying, yeah, it's time for a change. Steve Moore has clearly failed at protecting us here in San Joaquin County, and clearly there are trust issues, credibility issues, and moral issues with his leadership. But what does Pat Withrow bring to the table? Why should we vote for Pat Withrow to take over the sheriff's office? So I thought I'd take this time to talk about my plan for the county and how I would be different. So over the past few months, we've seen everything that's been going wrong at the sheriff's office. It's been 12 years of failed leadership by Steve Moore. It started with the Shermantine issue, where the families couldn't recover their own loved ones' bodies because his ego got hurt and he wouldn't allow a serial killer to be brought out of San Quentin, protected, and show us where all the bodies are. He chose to not do that, and the families are still waiting after 15, 20 years to get their loved ones back so they can give them a decent burial. Then we saw how Steve Moore began thinking that the evidence room was his own private shopping center where he could go in, take guns, and make them his own private personal property. And then we found out about the evidence room. If we'd have known about this before the last election, we'd have walked into this problem and addressed it immediately, but we didn't know. And we found out that there were 10,000 missing pieces of evidence in our evidence room. So clearly this is going to start affecting prosecutions, maybe appeals. So this is another issue where Steve Moore had to lie and say, no, there's nothing wrong. And yet he spent $750,000 of taxpayers' money in this budget, that's a public record, you can look it up, to try and fix this evidence room that he says there's no problem with. And now we find out what's going on in our coroner's division. The world-renowned Dr. Amalu has come forward along with Dr. Parsons and said the hostile work environment, the harassment that Dr. Parsons faced was just too much, and the dishonesty of Steve Moore changing their findings, that they would not stand for it, and we lost both of these fantastic doctors. They resigned because of his corruption.